The battle for the Arthen Belt was already lost, at least, that's what every alien commander believed. The Zorith Dominion had deployed 3 full fleets, hundreds of warships, battlecruisers, and carriers blotting out the stars with their might. Against them stood only the Allied coalition, a fractured collection of species that had banded together out of desperation. Their lines were breaking, their ships burning, and their last remaining strongholds collapsing one by one. "Pull back. We can't hold them," cried Admiral Velrix of the Atari, his crest flaring in panic. He watched his tactical displays as more coalition vessels were torn apart by Dominion barrages. The War Council aboard the coalition flagship fell into despair. Their fleets were collapsing, and soon the Dominion would have full control of the belt's resources, a death sentence for the Alliance. That was when a single blip appeared on the edge of the star map. "Unidentified warp signature," a sensor officer announced. "Large, no, massive. It's entering the battle space." The Council leaned forward in silence. Then the transponder code resolved. It was human. The Dominion admiral scoffed when he saw the lone ship. "One warship? Against us? Do they believe this will change anything?" Laughter spread across the command deck. To the Dominion, humanity was a minor player in galactic politics, known more for their stubborn independence than any significant military might. But the coalition knew better. The ship emerged from warp with a thunderclap of energy, a silhouette cutting through starlight. It was colossal, long, angular, armored with thick plates that seemed to drink in enemy scans. Its name shimmered across the hull in bold letters, UNS Vengeance. "By the stars," Admiral Velrix whispered. "They actually sent one." The Dominion targeted the newcomer immediately. Waves of plasma fire and missile barrages streaked toward the human vessel. The humans did not evade. They did not retreat. The UNS Vengeance advanced. Shields flared, but its hull held firm. Massive rail cannons, each the length of city blocks, roared to life. Kinetic slugs, primitive by Dominion standards, were fired at near-light velocity. The first volley ripped through an entire Dominion cruiser, snapping it in half like paper. Then came the second volley. And the third. Each shot a thunderclap of raw devastation. "Impossible," shouted the Dominion admiral. "Their weapons are projectiles. No energy signatures, how can they penetrate our shields?" They hadn't studied human warfare enough to understand. Humans didn't fight fair. They didn't play by the same rules. Their weapons weren't elegant beams of plasma or delicate quantum disruptors. They were slabs of dense metal hurled with brutal force, tearing through shields designed for entirely different threats. The UNS Vengeance turned its broadside, unleashing a storm of missiles, rail slugs, and electronic warfare pulses that fried Dominion systems. Entire squadrons vanished in fire and wreckage. Coalition officers, watching in disbelief, saw the tide of battle shift. "It fights like an army by itself," one whispered. The Dominion attempted to regroup, sending in a cluster of battleships to overwhelm the lone vessel. But the humans had built the Vengeance for exactly this purpose. Its reactors surged, its guns burned, and its hangars released swarms of human strike craft, small, fast, vicious machines piloted by soldiers who thrived in chaos. Every engagement ended the same way, Dominion ships torn apart, debris scattered across the stars. The War Council aboard the coalition flagship could only watch as the battle slowly transformed from certain defeat into the impossible, a rout. By the end of the day, the Zorith Dominion fleet, once confident in its overwhelming numbers, was in full retreat. Entire cruisers warped out, abandoning the battlefield. The coalition survivors, battered and bloodied, raised their voices in stunned relief. Who are these humans?" Admiral Velrix asked aloud, though the answer was clear. They were Deathworlders. Warriors who had grown up on a planet that tried to kill them every day, who had turned survival into an art and war into a science. A single human warship had just changed the course of the entire campaign. As the UNS Vengeance turned slowly in the void, its hull scorched but unbroken, a message echoed across the comms. A human voice, calm and steady. This is just the beginning. The Dominion learned that day that the arrival of a single human warship was never just a ship entering a battle. It was humanity entering the war. And that changed everything.